Everything kicks off in a dusty prison yard where a bunch of inmates are smashing rocks under the blazing sun. Among them is none other than Rambo himself. Yeah, the guy's locked up, paying the price for wrecking Hopetown in the first movie, kind of his way of flipping off the system. He's doing hard time, trying to survive the dull routine, when suddenly a guard shouts for him. Turns out the visitor is someone Rambo actually knows, Colonel Troutman. The man looks a little guilty for not checking in for nearly 3 years, but he doesn't waste much time getting to the point. Troutman offers Rambo a shot at freedom. There's a mission in Vietnam, top secret stuff. At first, Rambo isn't having it. The idea of going back to the place that wrecked his soul? No thanks. But Troutman drops the real hook. If Rambo pulls this mission off, there's a good chance the president will give him a full pardon. Rambo's got 5 years left behind bars, and he's tired of the walls closing in. So after a beat, he nods. He's in. The mission this time is about saving American POWs still stuck in enemy territory, something that actually means something to Rambo. No time is wasted. Troutman rushes through the paperwork, and next thing you know, Rambo's flying out in a chopper, heading straight for a U.S. base in Thailand. When he lands, a guy named Eric greets him, acting all friendly. But Rambo barely acknowledges him and walks straight past to see Troutman. Inside the base, Troutman introduces Rambo to a guy named Murdoch, the one in charge of this operation. Murdoch puts on the charm and welcomes Rambo like a celebrity, even walks him over to his private quarters to take a peek at his military record. And man, Murdoch is impressed. Rambo's list of medals and awards could stretch across the floor. Murdoch finally gives the thumbs up. Rambo's the man for the job. But there's a catch. Murdoch tells him, don't engage. Just snap some photos of the camp where the POWs might be and head back. No combat. That rubs Rambo the wrong way, but he agrees. Orders are orders for now. Murdoch give him an hour to gear up. Before he takes off, Troutman shows Rambo around the base, showing off all the new gadgets, weapons, and tech. Murdoch brags about their high-tech gear like it's unbeatable. But Rambo's not impressed. He just shrugs and says, the strongest weapon's up here, tapping his head. Murdoch doesn't quite know how to respond. He thinks Rambo's maybe a little off from the war, but Troutman vouches for him. Says Rambo's the toughest guy he's ever trained. Fearless, immune to pain, gear-packed, knives, cameras, and all that. Rambo is ready to go. He heads to the plane with Troutman, and as they get ready for the jump, Murdoch watches nervously. He doesn't think Rambo's going to pull this off. Up in the sky, Rambo's sitting quietly, haunted by flashbacks of Vietnam. It's clear the place messed him up bad. He lost friends, lost himself. Soon the base radio's in, it's time to jump. But when Rambo tries to leap out, his gear snags midair, and he gets tossed around before crashing into a jungle canopy. He's dangling from a tree, looking like a caught fish. Back at the base, Murdoch gets word of the botched drop and immediately tells Eric to scrap the mission. Leave Rambo out there. But Rambo's not built like that. He slices himself free, tosses the gear, and keeps moving. He survives the fall and starts pushing through the jungle, compass in hand, completely in his element. He's been here before, and it shows. While hiking through the dense forest, he catches movement nearby. Instinct kicks in, he pounces. Turns out, it's a woman named Ko Bao, called Sarah in your version. She was sent as his contact and isn't a threat. Rambo eases off, and they start talking. Sarah explains she's the one helping him with the mission, and Rambo decides to trust her. As they travel together, she suggests they ditch the land route and take the water. It's safer, or at least less watched. Rambo's surprised when she leads him to a pirate boat she hired. They bribe the captain and set sail, hoping to reach the POW camp by water without raising alarms. Still, Rambo's nervous. He knows Vietnamese patrol boats could show up at any time. But the pirate captain is armed with a bazooka and assures them he's ready to fight if needed. As the boat glides along the water, Rambo and Sarah talk more. She tells him her father used to be in intelligence before he was killed. She stepped into this life to carry on his mission. Rambo admits that if he doesn't make it out, nobody's coming to look for him. He's considered disposable. Back at HQ, Troutman's worried and tries to convince Murdoch to send a team to back Rambo up. But Murdoch doesn't want to deal with it. He's already decided Rambo's probably dead. Meanwhile, the boat reaches land near the POW camp. Sarah tells the pirates to wait. She and Rambo head out into the jungle again and sneak up to the camp. From afar, it looks abandoned, but Rambo's not convinced. As they creep closer, a woman walks out, clearly not a soldier, probably forced to work there. Rambo gets an arrow ready, trying to figure out what's going on inside. Sarah reminds him to just take pictures, but Rambo shakes his head. He's not there for snapshots. He's there to save lives. Without another word, he cuts through the fence and slips into the camp. Inside, he moves like a shadow, evading the guards and scoping out the place. He spots a few prisoners in horrible shape and decides to help one of them first. He gets the man free and starts planning their escape. Guards start circling. Rambo takes them down silently with arrows and knives. Outside the camp, Sarah gets grabbed by a guard. She's nearly executed, but Rambo shows up just in time and rescues her. By morning, the camp realizes they've been infiltrated. An alarm blares, and soldiers start fanning out into the forest to hunt down the intruder. Back at HQ, Troutman and Eric are prepping for extraction. Rambo, Sarah, and the freed prisoner, Jack, race through the jungle, dodging patrols. They reach the pirate ship again and climb aboard, trying to get away fast. But it's not over. A Vietnamese battleship shows up on the river. The pirates? Yeah, they sold them out. Their captain even slaps Rambo and Sarah, blaming them for dragging heat to his boat. But Rambo turns the tables, grabs a knife, takes down the pirates, and tells Sarah and Jack to jump overboard. The warship opens fire, and Rambo realizes they're sitting ducks. Then he remembers the bazooka. He grabs it, aims, and boom, takes out the enemy ship in one big explosion. As he turns to escape, one of the pirates hiding above attacks him. Rambo fights him off, stabs him, and leaps into the water right before the boat blows sky high. Sarah and Jack, watching from a distance, are stunned but relieved. Rambo makes it out, and they push forward, but they're still being chased. They rush toward the extraction point, and Rambo tells Sarah goodbye, sending her off safely. Troutman's on his way to the rendezvous point, helicopter closing in. Rambo and Jack are trudging through rice paddies when mortar shells start raining down. A Vietnamese officer, Thai, spotted them and ordered his men to open fire. Rambo and Jack keep running, and just as they're about to be cornered, Troutman and Eric show up. Eric starts blasting with heavy fire from the chopper, buying Rambo time to get to safety. Troutman is thrilled. They got one of the POWs out. But back at HQ, Murdoch isn't celebrating. He clears the room and makes a shady call: abort the rescue. Troutman's furious. Just when he's about to drop the rescue ladder for Rambo, Eric starts praying instead of helping. The helicopter flies away, leaving Rambo and Jack stranded. From the jungle, Sarah watches this betrayal unfold. She can't believe it. They just left him behind on purpose. Back at base, Troutman storms into Murdoch's office, boiling with rage. Murdoch tries to explain that Rambo broke protocol. He was only supposed to take photos. Saving POWs was not part of the plan. Worse, Murdoch's worried that if the public finds out, they'll have to pay reparations to Vietnam. Troutman's disgusted. These prisoners were heroes, and now they've been written off like garbage. Murdoch doesn't care. He kicks Troutman out. Meanwhile, Rambo is captured, bound, and dumped in a pit full of pig muck. Just when you think it can't get worse, a Russian squad arrives by chopper. Yep, turns out Vietnam and Russia are working together. The Russians are led by a guy named Lieutenant Colonel Yushin. He pulls out a knife and tries to scare Rambo, but it doesn't work. Rambo's been through worse. The Russians order the Vietnamese to clean Rambo up. They want him prepped for interrogation. After some serious chaos in the jungle, Rambo ends up tied up again, this time locked inside a grim-looking room. The guy in charge of the mess is a Russian officer named Yushin, who's got that classic cold stare and a bad attitude to match. He steps in and calmly tells Rambo that he plans to squeeze some intel out of him, one way or another. If Rambo plays nice, fine. If not, well, they've got their own ways of making people talk. But Rambo, stone cold silent. Yushin doesn't take that well. He starts yelling, trying to rattle him, demanding that Rambo call the U.S. base and confess to being a spy. But Rambo doesn't blink. He just stares at the floor like none of this bothers him. That ticks Yushin off even more. So he gives the nod to his lackey, another guy named Yushin, to crank up the voltage and start the torture. Elsewhere, someone unexpected slips onto the scene. Sarah, Rambo's contact from earlier, shows up dressed like a local, pretending to be a prostitute to blend in. She's there for one thing only: getting Rambo out alive. Meanwhile, back in that torture room, they're shocking the hell out of Rambo, trying to get him to squeal. But the guy doesn't budge. Every jolt of electricity just makes him grit his teeth harder. Yushin, clearly frustrated, eavesdrops on a recording from earlier and realizes something that surprises even him. Rambo had been left out to dry. Murdoch, the mission leader back at HQ, had ordered the team to abandon Rambo, plain and simple. Yashin, probably thinking this betrayal might break Rambo down, tries to use it against him. Even your own people gave up on you, he says. But Rambo stays quiet, refusing to give him the satisfaction of a reaction. But even through all that pain, Rambo stays strong. It's honestly wild how he's still upright after all that. While that's happening, Sarah's busy making moves. She knocks out a guard, grabs Rambo's gear, including his iconic bow, and starts sneaking through the facility, trying to locate where he's being held. Yashin's patience finally snaps. He drags out Jack, the prisoner Rambo rescued earlier, and threatens to gouge out his eye with a red-hot blade if Rambo doesn't start talking. Jack, even though he's terrified, tells Rambo not to give in, no matter what they do to him. But Rambo's resolve wavers. He can't watch Jack suffer for his sake. So finally, reluctantly, he agrees to make the call. At that moment, Sarah sneaks into position just beneath the floor of the torture room. At first, Rambo doesn't even realize she's there, but then he spots her out of the corner of his eye. Still, he goes ahead with the call. The connection is made, and the base answers. They ask for his location. Rambo, his voice shaking with fury and pain, doesn't give coordinates. Instead, he turns his rage toward Murdoch. In a voice full of venom, he swears he's coming back, and Murdoch better be ready. And just like that, all hell breaks loose. With perfect timing, Sarah bursts into the room, weapons flying. She tosses Rambo his gear, and the two of them go full-on action mode. Bullets fly, alarms blare, and chaos erupts throughout the base. Together, they mow down enemies left and right. But they're not out of danger yet. The camp is massive, and reinforcements start pouring in. Vietnamese and Russian troops swarm the area, and it becomes clear they're heavily outnumbered. To get away, Rambo and Sarah start lobbing grenades and tear open the camp's fencing like wild animals. They tear through the jungle, try to get distance, but their problems aren't over. A helicopter starts sweeping the forest, shining bright lights down and launching missiles. Rambo and Sarah zigzag through trees, ducking under branches and diving away from explosions. Somehow, they survive the night. By morning, the enemy's given up. The chopper heads back. The soldiers, exhausted and empty-handed, retreat. Sarah, breathing hard, turns to tend to Rambo's injured hand. Even though they've escaped, she knows the war's not over yet. Back at the U.S. base, Murdoch is sweating. That threat from Rambo? It's echoing in his head. Just as he starts to relax, Troutman shows up again and demands a rescue team be sent. Murdoch refuses again. Troutman's had enough. He almost storms out to go find Rambo himself. But Eric and the other hired guns stop him. They're following Murdoch's orders and won't let Troutman leave. Meanwhile, Rambo and Sarah take a moment to breathe. And something shifts. Rambo sees it in her eyes. This isn't just about the mission anymore. She wants a life beyond all this. She tells him she dreams of moving to America, of leaving the violence behind. Rambo, for once, lets his guard down. They kiss. And for a second, things feel almost peaceful. But peace doesn't last long. Out of nowhere, shots ring out. Lieutenant Ty and his men ambush them. A bullet rips through Sarah. She collapses in Rambo's arms, blood pouring out. She's dying, and Rambo can't stop it. With her last breath, she begs him not to forget her. That moment flips a switch in Rambo. He buries her body carefully, silently promising revenge. Then he gears up. The jungle becomes his war zone. He moves like a ghost, taking out enemies one by one. He uses traps, knives, arrows, whatever he has. One by one, the soldiers fall, and no one sees it coming. The Vietnamese and Russian forces are baffled. Men disappearing with no trace, no noise. Rambo leads them on a chase through a village, drawing them in like prey. At one point, he snatches a chicken, slashes it, and uses the blood to fake a trail. The enemy follows it into a field soaked in kerosene. Big mistake. Rambo sets it ablaze from above, launching fiery arrows into the chaos. The field explodes, and flames rise high as enemy trucks and weapons ignite. As the fire rages, Rambo keeps moving. Near a waterfall, he comes face to face with Lieutenant Ty again. Ty opens fire, hitting Rambo several times. When his rifle clicks empty, he switches to a handgun and keeps firing. Rambo remembers Sarah's death, remembers Ty's role in it. Fueled by pain, he draws his bow and returns fire. Ty is hit and stumbles away, trying to flee. But Rambo isn't done. Suddenly, another helicopter swoops in, this one piloted by Yushin. He's got bombs and orders to blow Rambo to pieces. But Rambo's faster. He dodges the blast and dives into the water below, just seconds before everything explodes. The enemy thinks he's dead. He's not. Rambo sneaks aboard the chopper mid-mission, takes out the crew, and hijacks it. He flies back to the POW camp, missiles loaded. He rains fire down on the place, shocking the soldiers below. The prisoners, still in chains, stare in disbelief. Rambo's come back. He lands and takes out the remaining guards, then frees everyone. He leads them out, watching their backs the whole time. Just when they think they're safe, a Russian gunship reappears. It's Yushin again. The Russian fires everything he's got, blasting Rambo's chopper. Smoke fills the cockpit. Rambo flies low, trying to shake him. Then his helicopter disappears from sight. Yushin circles looking for him. That's when Rambo pops up from behind, hovering low over a river. Before Yushin can react, Rambo fires a bazooka straight into his tail. Boom! End of Yushin. With the skies clear, Rambo flies the battered chopper back toward base. He radios in, "I've got the prisoners." Back at HQ, Murdoch turns pale. The chopper lands. Rambo storms out, gun in hand. He punches Eric square in the face and marches straight for Murdoch's room. He tears the place apart. Equipment flying, people running. Finally, he corners Murdoch. "I'm not done." Rambo growls, knife in hand. He lifts him off the ground, holding the blade to his throat. Murdoch whimpers. Rambo gives him one last chance. Find the rest of the prisoners. Or next time, it's not just a warning. Then Rambo leaves. Outside, Troutman finds him. He tells Rambo he's getting another Medal of Honor. But Rambo doesn't want it. "Give it to them," he says, pointing to the freed POWs. "They earned it." Troutman nods, understanding. He tries once more to convince Rambo to come back to the military. "We could use a man like you." Rambo just shakes his head. "There's nothing left for me." Troutman asks, "What do you want then?" Rambo, looking off into the distance, says, "I just want this country to love us as much as we love it." And with that, he walks away, leaving behind the war, the politics, and everything that tried to break him. The story fades out with one clear truth. You don't mess with Rambo. Especially if helicopters, bazookas, and revenge are involved. And that wraps up today's video. If you found it interesting, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more content just like this. Got thoughts, theories, or questions? Drop them in the comments. We always love hearing from you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Stay curious, stay sharp.